Hey everybody! Koricon Nala here, and this is my surprise review for Dhoom, a 2004 Hindi action entertainer. Now, when I had my poll for movies that I would review, the last winner was Dhoom 2. And I watched the trailers for both of them, and I decided that I was going to review both movies, Dhoom and Dhoom 2, because it felt like the characterization or the story may have needed both movies. It may not be that way because I haven't seen Dhoom 2 yet. I'm watching that after I do this. But I figured, what the heck, I have the time today, let's do it. And I would like to thank Denver Johnson for mailing me these movies. I really appreciate that. And if you would like to mail stuff, I have my address in the description below. You can check that out, along with links to all of my social medias and Discord server and everything else. There's a bunch of stuff down there. But this movie, Dhoom, was directed by Sanjay Gaddavi, and it's starring Abhishek Bachchan, Uda Chopra, John Abraham, Rimi Sen, and Esha Diol. I hope I pronounced all those names right. If I got something wrong, please correct me in the comment section. But this is a story of a mysterious gang of bikers on a robbing spree. And the police detective, Jai, gets a guy named Ali, a mechanic, to assist him in the case. With the clock ticking, it's up to them to nab the thieves red-handed. At least that's what IMDb said. So the style and tone of the film was established immediately, like right in the first couple of scenes. I quickly knew what I was getting in for, and I could just have fun watching it. I was expecting a cheesy, fun action movie, and they really established what the whole tone of the film would be right in the beginning. One of the things they used to create that tone in the beginning was an interesting way of using some editing to kind of make it look like comic book tiles. And editing throughout the movie was used to heighten more of the humorous scenes, so it kept that tone going throughout the whole film. The acting was just okay. Nothing was really good or bad, just good enough to service the story and not distract the audience. But the women were very easy on the eyes, and that didn't hurt any at all. And poor Ali, that character, his luck with women, it became a humorous running joke, and it added to his characterization, so I did enjoy that they did that. One thing that was distracting, though, was the volume between the music and action sequences and the dialogue sequences. It was almost double the volume. I had to keep turning the volume up and down. I wish they had kept the volume at a more stable. That was a bit distracting, but overall it wasn't too annoying, just a little frustrating. The music was catchy but forgettable. The dancing and the good use of location for the sequences is what stayed with me when I was thinking back on the film. Like, for instance, the first song is right in the beginning, and it's when we first meet the police officer and his wife, and you really get an idea of their playfulness of their relationship. So it added to their characterization. You knew exactly who they were and what their relationship was like before the song was over. For those of you that have seen some of my other reviews and trailer reaction reviews, I like song and dance, I like musicals, but my personal opinion is I want the music and dance numbers to take place in the location of the story so that it services the story, pushes the narrative, and increases characterization. I'm not a huge fan of movies that film a music video that has nothing to do with the movie and then just drops it in the movie at some place. So what I really liked about this movie is all of the song and dance numbers took place in the location of the story, was used to push narrative and increase characterization for the most part. For instance, the second song was located in a low part of the story where they were just waiting in a car, and then some girl's car breaks down. She ends up becoming a character in the film, and they have a dance number of Ali trying to get her affections, and it was in the rain. I'm a big fan of rain on film. I like that. So it was a very entertaining sequence, but at the same time it pushed Ali's character and introduced another character and pushed the story along at the same time. After the intermission, there was a third song, almost immediately after the intermission, that I really liked. And it wasn't because of the music, it was because what they did with it. They had it on a stage, and the girl that was introduced in the previous song, she is up on stage doing a performance, a concert for a charity event, and they used that location to be able to have a big production dance number, but it was one of our main characters on stage. It was for a charity event, and then they used the charity event for where the money was being collected so the robbers could steal it, and we go immediately into an action sequence. So it was really smart how they integrated everything that they wanted into one sequence, and it fit the story, it pushed narrative, created characterization, and gave you an immediate movement from the dance number to the story again with a seamless flow. The fourth song, however, I didn't really like. I didn't see the need for it, but I did like the fact that it took place in the story in the hotel, and with the characters in their current state. It's just you could have easily cut that out. It felt more like time padding, as if they were trying to just make the runtime longer so that the second half was just as long as the first half. But they could have easily cut that fourth song out and the movie would have moved a lot smoother, I thought. The first half of the movie had decent pacing. Just a tad slow, couple of scenes that dragged, but not too much. The story moved along and kept my interest. The second half had okay pacing, some dragged, and a couple of filler scenes, plus that musical number to pad the runtime. So the second half could be as long as the first. It felt like the writers were concentrating more on the first half than the second half of the film, but I like the fact that they did that because that's where all of our characterization was. So by the time we get to the second half, we're attached to our characters and we forgive those little things because we're following along. We enjoy the ride. The action sequences were fantastical and humorous at times, but they knew what they were doing and they embraced it. It was entertaining like other movies of that style in the action genre. Like the boat being dragged by the truck. That made me laugh, but it was entertaining. It fit the tone, so I didn't really care. The fight scenes were not good, though. They were kind of over the top without a reason. But there were only 2 of them, so it wasn't that big of a deal. The jump cut and split scene editing was a bit chaotic at times, but it matched the style of the overall film. So it wasn't too distracting, it was just noticeable. The thing that I enjoyed that I wasn't expecting was the relationship between our protagonist cop and the antagonist robber. That it was more of a strategic battle of minds. They had a mental chess game being played instead of a physical one. But at the end they had a physical one. But for the most part it was more of that mental chess game of manipulation and strategy. The cinematography and the directing were pretty standard though. Not great, but not bad. It serviced the film just fine. To wrap up, the style and tone of the film was established immediately. I knew what I was going to get and I could just relax and have fun. I was pleasantly surprised that I got more of a strategic mental chess game between our protagonist and antagonist. The story was predictable but entertaining to watch because the characters were interesting and they had fun relationships. Most of the fun relationships were possible because of Uday Chopra's character, Ali. He was a fun character and he was kind of the glue that held everybody together. The song and dance numbers took place in the story and were used well for characterization and pushing the narrative, except for that fourth song. And the pacing and tone was consistent throughout the movie for the most part. A few scenes dragged and there was a little bit of runtime padding in the second half. Overall though, it was a fun, entertaining movie and I did enjoy it. I'm going to give this movie a grade of a B-. this was a pretty fun movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it more than I thought I would. And if I had to compare it to movies that I'm familiar with, being an American, it would be a mix of Fast and the Furious sequels with Bad Boys. And so I like those movies. Made sense why I enjoyed myself with this one. But you really do have to suspend belief, just enjoy the entertaining film. Thank you for watching my review of Dhoom. I will be having my review for Dhoom 2 up tomorrow. I'm going to be watching it right after this. But comment below and let me know your thoughts. What did you think of Dhoom? Don't really tell me anything about Dhoom 2 yet. But like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. And I will see you in the next video.